Cabinet. We have apologies today from Matt Ashton and Mel Crichton. Are there any other apologies to report? Are there any interest to declare? The minutes of the last meeting held on the 3rd of December. Can I move that we approve these minutes of our last meeting?
Agreed.
Mayoral Reports. We have no Mayoral Reports to consider, so we'll move on to our next item of business. Item number 4. Number 4A, review of policies for the Liverpool Citizen Support Scheme and the discretionary housing payments. This recommendation seeks our endorsement to refresh and update 2 key policies relating to the local authority discretionary welfare benefit scheme and those relating to the Liverpool Citizen Support Scheme and discretionary housing payments on pages 11 to 44. Councillor Corbett, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor. This recommendation is about the policies rather than the money. So the Liverpool Citizen Support Scheme provides critical and urgent support to low-income households right across the city who are in a crisis and when setting up a new home. And it ensures that the policy remains reflective of the current needs and the changing social and economic environment. It is important to periodically review and refresh the policies. Discretionary housing payments, that provides help with rent to low-income and vulnerable households where their state benefits do not meet the full cost, and the scheme assists with benefit shortfalls and help with that rent, mostly due to restrictions brought in with the Welfare Reform Act 2012, to do with bedroom tax, to do with benefit cap, and to do with the lowering of the local housing allowance as well. It's worth noting that since 2015 the government hadn't given us specific money for this, but we've carried the scheme on. We're one of the few in the country that has done this incredibly well, and we spent over £22 million on it to keep people's heads above water. Recently, we've had some one-off grants off the government, which are very welcomed, but they need to be regular and sustained. Thank you, Mayor.
Can I move that the recommendations be endorsed and reports submitted to full council? Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Item B, procurement of electronic payment network, pages 56 to 61. This recommendation seeks our agreement to procure a supplier for payment network services. These services enable the payment of bills and invoices by individuals and businesses through a nationwide network of outlets, including post offices and local convenience stores. Councillor Corbett, would you like to say a few words?
Thanks, Mayor. This recommendation offers a range of benefits. Clearly, the importance of collecting monies owed to the council is a priority for us. And in addition, this offers flexible and accessible payment methods for residents and customers, so ensuring differing access and mobility needs are catered for.
Are the recommendations set out in the report agreed?
Agreed.
Item C, authority to accept an increase in grant allocation for the European Social Fund area Ways to Work programme. This recommendation seeks approval to accept additional funding totaling £5.5 million as part of 2 ESF Ways to Work programmes. Councillor Logan, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Any additional funding is welcome, and these programmes are key as they offer individualised support to local unemployed young people and residents through supporting them back to work, through accessing sustainable employment, or through moving them into further training or education. Crucially, this funding is focused on some of our most deprived wards.
Are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed?
Agreed.
Item D, workforce recruitment and retention funds for adult social care, pages 74 to 87. This recommendation seeks approval to accept £2 million grant to help support adult social care. Councillor Lake, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, good news. This extra money will support essential care services over the winter to some of the most vulnerable residents that we've got in the city, especially with the extra pressures that we've got due to our current COVID levels. Thank you.
Are the recommendations set out in the report agreed?
Agreed.
Item E, Better Care Funds and Section 75 Agreement Development, pages 88 to 104. This recommendation summarises the outturn position for the Better Care Fund for 2021 and advises on amended arrangements and next steps for the fund and Section 75 agreements between the NHS, local CCG and us. Councillor Lake, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor. So the Better Care Fund is obviously a key plank of how we deliver a range of our community services, and the approach adopted will help support the continued development of health and care services across the city.
Thanks, Councillor Lake. As this outturn is required to be submitted to the Government by the 27th of December, the Chair of Social Care and Health Select Committee has been consulted and agreed to withdraw calling. The report will be submitted to the Health and Wellbeing Board later today. Are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
We now turn to two-part exempt recommendations, as only certain appendices to the report are exempt. I propose that we consider the overall report in public. This is on the basis that we accept the exemptions remain in place. Before we do so, do Cabinet members have any questions in the exempt appendices? No, in which case we'll consider the report. Paddington Village, Plot 9, Hemisphere Agreement for Lease and Plot Supply and Connection Agreement, pages 140 and 192. This recommendation provides an update on the Hemisphere's plot of Paddington Village and seeks our agreement to various technical requirements which are key to progressing this development. I'm really pleased to see continued progress at Paddington Village as this is a flagship development for the knowledge sector of the city. This provides a significant opportunity for valuable economic growth with a focus on health, life sciences, education and knowledge-based development. Anyone, any comments? Sam?
Thank you, Joanne. I'm really pleased to see this report today. Buildings are a huge contributor to our city's carbon emissions, with nearly 140,000 tonnes of CO2 emitted from commercial buildings in the city. We know that we need to see mass retrofitting campaign of buildings and work to improve energy efficiency and a move to decarbonised heating supply. Just as important, though, is seeing that new buildings are built to top energy efficiency standards. And we want to see that go even further with net zero buildings as the goal. So that's why the plans that we have today to see Liverpool's first net zero carbon building developed are really welcome and exciting.
Thank you, Councillor Barrington. Are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed?
Agreed. Agreed.
Thank you. Item B, Anfield regeneration, completion of remaining regeneration priorities, pages 193 to 255. This report draws together the remaining priorities for the Anfield regeneration project and seeks approval to a range of actions to support the conclusion of the project. Again, really pleasing to see this report come forward. The developments listed in the report will provide essential retail and community facilities, improving choice and competition for consumers. The final residential proposals for Anfield Village and Anfield Comprehensive Site will in turn meet identified local needs for social housing and assisted living. Lastly, the High Street Public Realm Works will improve pedestrian safety and inclusivity, provide enhanced outdoor amenity space and assist with the cohesion of neighbourhoods across Anfield. Are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 7, Chief Financial Officer's Report. Revenue Monitor report for 21-22, month 7, October. This report sets out the current position and forecast for our revenue budget as at month 7 of the financial year. This forms part of our regular monitoring of the financial status of the council, including the impacts of the pandemic. Anyone, any comments? Are the Peter Casterton online, do you want to make a comment, Peter?
Just to say that the overall overspend is 2 million, so we just need to keep the pressure on to bring it down to a break-even position by the year end. We've made good progress. The forecast overspend was 8.9 million at month 4, so it's going in the right direction.
Thank you, Peter. Are the recommendations set out in the report agreed? We have no remaining report items to discuss, so we'll now turn to mayoral announcements. A key message from me as we see rising levels of COVID transmission. It is crucial we do our bit and act responsibly, following social distancing guidance and regularly sanitise our hands, as well as wearing masks as far as possible when in public spaces. For anyone who hasn't booked a COVID vaccination or booster, please go online as soon as you can. Together, looking out for those around us, and we will protect ourselves, our friends, families and communities we love. And lastly, this is our last meeting of the year, and I'd like to wish everyone a happy Christmas and New Year. That concludes today's meeting. Thank you everyone watching today's proceedings.